Hey guys, this is Shikha. I am at UCLA School of Dentistry, graduating in a month, and I'm super excited to be going out into the world and practicing dentistry here in the US. So Siri spoke last time about how and why doing dentistry here in the US is worth it. And the reason that so many of us are doing our DDS here definitely means that the advantages and the benefits of doing that kind of outweighs the challenges. However, I still feel that it's important for everybody who is going to start this journey to know what the challenges here might be, and to have that at the back of your mind before you take on this journey, just because this is such a invasive journey and you're putting in so much in terms of physical, mental, emotional energy. So it's important that you know what your challenges may be, so that you're able to weigh and decide if this really is for you or not. The first thing that I would like to say is the finances. It is really expensive here. Each of the courses, most of the international courses vary between $225,000 to about $250,000, or even more in some schools. So especially when you do the conversion, if you're from a different country and with the value of the dollar, it is a lot of money. Of course, there are student loans, but then student loans basically always 90% of these loans need a cosigner. So now cosigners are basically somebody here in the US who's going to vouch for you and who's going to sign a loan, who's going to sign for you to get a loan of that much amount. It's the whole process of getting a loan is really simple, but the more challenging part is to find a co-signer. Most of the times it's relatives or family, friends who are here and who are able to do that. But of course, some people are in positions where they don't have anybody here in the US who can co-sign for them. So that's when it gets really difficult, because you don't want to be at a position where you get accepted and you have to put down this amount to confirm your position, and you don't have anybody to co-sign for you. Some loans allow you to get some amount of money without a co-signer. And there are other ways out as well. Of course, getting a loan from your own country and, borrowing money and all of those things. And of course, it varies case to case. And Siri and I will be discussing and mentoring each one of you, so we can guide you step by step, give you your alternatives. And it's not like a problem that you won't be able to overcome, but it is the first thing that you need to keep at the back of your mind before you start pursuing this, that the money is going to be so much, and it's going to be spread over 2 years of education, 2 or 3. So make sure you know where your funding is going to come from, whether it's going to be loan or family, friend, or a relative, whatever it is. Keep them informed. Don't let them don't just assume in your head that they will help you. Be very verbal and vocal about it, about how much you will need, what your expectations are, and see if they are able to do that for you. And so don't keep that for, I'll look into this later. This is something that you need to have prepared beforehand, or at least start planning beforehand. So that is your first challenge. The second thing would be mainly for those people who are on a visa and who understand OPT and H1B. So OPT is optional practical training, and H1B is the work visa that you get here to continue working. So OPT is basically a certain amount of time that you get to which is attached to your study course, that you can work for here in the US. So with dentistry, with the DDS degree, we get 1 year of OPT fixed time that we can work here in the US legally. And then after that, you have to convert into the work. Your employer has to sponsor a work visa for you, which is called the H1B. So the H1B, unfortunately, is a lottery-based process. So you kind of get into a lottery. There are like about 200,000 people or more, and they issue about 85,000 visas every year. So it's like you do have like one in, I don't know, 1 in 2.5 person ratio chance of getting your visa. And again, there are ways out. There are the other options that you have. You can join community clinics, federally qualified health centers, get sponsored, and there's like a lot of other things that I can talk to you about in a lot of detail in the in our next consecutive videos. Or even one-to-one. But what I need you to know is that your only guaranteed period of time that you can work is 1 year, and after that it will all be dependent on whether you get chosen or not. And the other thing you need to remember when we're talking about this is that practices here are not very aware of the whole sponsorship process. So it's really difficult to find private practitioners who are willing to sponsor you, because they have to also shell out some amount of money for that, and you have to get a lawyer, and they have to do all that process. So private practices as of now barely ever sponsor. Corporate practices, on the other hand, they do sponsor, but again only on like the rural areas of cities. So it won't be like mainland Los Angeles or mainland San Francisco, but it would be more like on the rurals, and the rural side. And it varies clinic to clinic. Sometimes they do it in mainland as well, but it's really hard to find that. So when you're applying, keep in mind that at the end, it's not always a rosy picture, especially if you're on a visa. Unfortunately, it does take a lot of physical, mental strength for you to be able to explain to all these employers that you're going to be interviewing with about what your visa status is, whether they're going to, and how this whole H-1B process works, and how they need to sponsor you and all of that. So the take home from this is basically that not everybody is aware of how the visa sponsorship works, because they're not like the MNCs, multinational companies, like where engineers they know what sponsorship is, and they do that like for hundreds and hundreds of employees every year. That's not how it is with dentistry. And unfortunately, because we don't come under the STEM, we just have 12 months of OPT, and it's not extendable. So that's your second thing. And then the third thing is mainly, this is something that varies person to person, and it's really different from school to school, city to city. It's basically just the feeling of you having uprooted your life back home and moving to a new country. It is a pretty lonely life. And when I say lonely, I don't mean to say you don't have friends. When I say lonely, I mean your path here is very independent, because you're in a class where you're with people from like different countries, and even within the same country, different states, different schools. So everybody's basic dental education is at a different level. So some people are so well versed with like RPDs and crowns and bridges, and while in some school you haven't done any of that. Some people have done like thousands of extractions in school, and you may have hardly done 5. So everybody is starting different. And even though the schools do as much as they can to calibrate and put everybody on the same level and make sure that everybody is getting ahead at each step, it's still a lonely path, because what you are looking at is just getting better from what you knew to what you are learning now. And it's hard being in a class where you are being constantly compared, and you want to compare, but your skill set and their skill set are so different from each other, and your knowledge and their knowledge is so different from each other. So that's what I mean by the path being lonely. Your situation, the kind of job you're looking for, the specialty that you want to do, all of that is going to be so different from your own classmate, and which kind of makes it very different from education back home, because back then it was dentistry from the basics. So you all started at the same level and ended at the same level. So Again, like I mentioned before, it varies a lot from personalities to cities to schools. But in general, this challenge is something that you should keep in mind, that it's not going to be an easy way just after you finish your boards. It's not going to be all rosy. It's not going to be all like, oh, now I've finished all the difficult part and now things are going to be easy. It's it's gonna get better, but it's not gonna get easy. So, yeah, these are the three main things I want you to keep in mind. And as such, like I said, most of this has a way out. There are alternatives, there are options, and there are solutions that we can provide to you that we've been through, and we have friends who've been through, and we can connect you with them and make sure that you get the right guidance and make it make this whole journey worth it in the end. So I think that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to let you know that, like Siri mentioned, there are so many beautiful things about dentistry here in the US, but there are also some challenges. And it's important for you to weigh both of it before you make this decision. My sincere advice is, if you are on the fence and you don't know whether you want to do this or not, give it a shot, because no matter where you end up, you are going to get better than where you are right now. So just take whatever you can, whatever resources you have at this time, and do whatever you can to come closer to this dream. And then you have people like us who are constantly there to help you and guide you and take you further. So yeah, I hope to connect with you further in our other videos. I will talk to you more about my life here at UCLA, the other steps applying to DDS, and the do's and don'ts of the whole application process. So stay tuned, subscribe, and share our videos as much as you can. Looking forward to hearing feedback from all of you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have at any time. Thank you.